Welcome back to the DRS Zone. Listen, I really hope you are sitting down or or at least holding on to something solid. Because while half the grid is still hibernating, trying to figure out their aero package in some dark wind tunnel, Honda just kicked the door down in Tokyo. It is Tuesday, January 20th, 2026, and the silence of the off-season has officially been shattered.
It really has. I mean, usually right now we're in the doldrums. We expect, silence. Maybe you get a grainy leaked photo of a front wing, a
Yeah.
sponsor rumor. But this is different. This is a statement.
Exactly. We were talking about the global unveil of the RA626H power unit. This is the beating heart of the Aston Martin AMR 26. And let me tell you, the vibes coming out of Tokyo are not, we hope to do well.
The vibe is pure, unfiltered aggression. It feels less like a press conference and more like a declaration of war. It is an incredibly bold strategy. And before we get completely swept away by the marketing, and let's be honest, the marketing is very, very good, we need to look at the engineering reality. Because underneath all that hype, there are some fascinating and honestly some potentially worrying details.
Right. Consider this your official briefing
Yeah.
on the start of the 2026 era. I'm here to bring the energy because, frankly, I can't believe what we're seeing this early.
And I'm here to look at the strategy, the engineering, and the risks. Because a loud launch doesn't always equal a fast car.
Fair point. And just so everyone is on the same page, this segment is part of our news coverage of recent F1 events. Okay, disclaimer done. Let's get to the good stuff. Take us to Tokyo. Paint the picture for us.
So visualize the scene. We are not at a racetrack. We are in a corporate stronghold in Tokyo. It's very serious business. You have all the heavy hitters there. Lawrence Stroll, owner of Aston Martin, front and center. Stefano Domenicali, the CEO of Formula One, he made the trip. And of course, Toshihiro Mide, the president of Honda.
And don't forget Andy Cowell, the man, the myth, the legend, the guy who basically architected the Mercedes dominance is now wearing Aston Martin green. That visual alone is worth 1,000 words.
It is a power display. It's designed to show unity. But the star of the show wasn't a person. It was the hardware. The RA626H. They had the physical unit there on stage. But here is the detail that caught my eye immediately. Parts of it were pixelated.
Pixelated. In real life.
On the screens, yeah. On all the press releases.
It's like they're saying, here it is, look at this beast, but don't look too close because we've got secrets that would make the other teams cry.
It's theater, but it serves a strategic purpose. In F1, showing your hand in January is usually suicide. The first race in Melbourne isn't until March 8th. If you show your cooling architecture now, Ferrari and Mercedes have 6 weeks to analyze it, maybe even copy it. So by pixelating the sensitive bits, Honda is trying to have it both ways. They want the intimidation without giving away the IP.
It's a flex. It's saying it's real, it's ready, and it's dangerous. But why now? Most teams are terrified of showing anything. Honda is basically holding a victory parade before the first practice session.
I think it comes down to the narrative of the works team. We have to remember, we are entering a complete regulatory reset. This is the folio en blanco, the blank sheet of paper.
We hear that phrase a lot, blank sheet of paper. But break that down for me. What is actually different under the hood for 2026?
It's a massive shift. The most complex part of the old engines, the MGU-H, is gone.
The motor generator unit heat?
Exactly. It recovered energy from the exhaust. Brilliant engineering, but incredibly expensive and complicated.
Good riddance.
Yeah.
Or do we miss it?
From a complexity standpoint, good riddance. It was a barrier to entry for new manufacturers, but removing it creates a massive hole in the power delivery. So the regulations have compensated by massively increasing the demand on the kinetic side, the MGU-K.
Okay, so less heat recovery, more battery power. How much more are we talking?
It's staggering. The electric power contribution is now nearing 50% of the total output. The power coming from the motor and the battery is effectively tripled compared to the era we just left.
Tripled. That has to change the way you drive the car, doesn't it?
Completely. You aren't just driving a combustion engine with a little electric boost anymore. You are driving a hybrid where the electric motor is an equal partner. And Toshihiro Mide was very clear about this in Tokyo. He sees Honda as a pioneer of this new architecture.
And there's another piece of this puzzle that I think gives Aston Martin the secret weapon, the fuel.
The synthetic fuel, yes. This is mandatory for 2026. Every team has to use 100% sustainable fuel.
And just to clarify, this isn't the gas you put in your road car. This is chemistry set stuff.
No, it's a chemically engineered liquid. And this is where the partnership with Aramco matters so much.
Right. And Aramco hasn't just been sitting around waiting for 2026, have they?
No. And this is the key insight. While other suppliers are scaling up lab tests, Aramco has been testing these synthetic fuels in Formula 2 and Formula 3.
Wait, so they have actual track data, real-world data.
Yes, on how these fuels behave in a racing environment, how they combust under vibration, cooling properties. That is a logistical head start that you cannot buy. While Mercedes might be extrapolating lab data, Aston and Aramco have empirical evidence.
That's huge. It's like studying for the final exam when you've already seen the answer key. So, monster electric motor, fuel advantage. This brings me to Lawrence Stroll.
The man with the vision.
He looked absolutely beaming. He talked about having unwavering faith in Honda. And this is the key shift, right? For years, Aston Martin were customers of Mercedes.
And being a customer in F1 is a glass ceiling. You get the engine, sure, but you get the engine Mercedes designed for their car. You're always compromising, always second best.
But now
They are the works team, the factory team. Honda is building this RA626H specifically for the Aston Martin AMR26.
Yeah.
If Adrian Newey says, I need the turbo 5 millimeters lower, Honda says, okay. They don't say, sorry, that's not how it comes in the crate.
that is the dream. That's how Red Bull dominated, how Mercedes dominated. You control your own destiny. And Stroll said they are impelled to win, not we want to compete. Impelled.
It's a strong word. They have no choice but to win. But, and here is where we have to pump the brakes a little bit.
I knew there was a but coming. What's the catch?
It's the engineering war. There was a detail that slipped out from the project chief, Tetsushi Kikuta.
Uh-oh. What did Kikuta-san say?
Well, he was surprisingly candid. He admitted something quite startling. He said that while the electrification progress is on plan, the combustion engine is struggling.
Struggling? In what way?
His words were something like, it is not progressing as smoothly as the electric side, that the development curve isn't as steep as they had hoped.
Hang on. We've been building combustion engines for 100 years. Honda is the engine company.
Yeah.
How are they struggling with the gas-burning part?
Because the requirements have changed. When you are pulling 50% of your power from a battery, the engine needs to be an efficiency monster, not a screamer. The compression ratios, the heat management with the synthetic fuel, it's all different.
So it's a make it work with this weird fuel and giant battery problem.
Precisely. And in a year where everyone starts from zero, admitting a lag in development this close to February, that is worrying. If your combustion engine isn't efficient, you burn more fuel. You start the race heavier. You're slower. It's a domino effect.
That is spicy. So they have the electric power, but the old school part is coughing a bit. That could be fatal.
And speaking of fatal, that brings us to the politics. Because it wouldn't be F1 without a protest before the cars even hit the track.
Oh, I love the off-track drama. What are they fighting about?
Compression ratios.
Okay, unpack this. Why is this the battleground?
In simple terms, it's how tightly you squeeze the fuel and air. More squeeze, bigger bang, more power.
So higher is better.
In theory. But the rules have limits to stop engines from becoming grenades. But Andy Cowell, Aston's new strategy chief, said, everyone goes to the limit.
Of course they do.
Exactly. But there are very strong rumors that Mercedes and the new Red Bull Ford powertrain have found a gray area. They've allegedly found a way to push the compression ratio up to 18.1 when the engine is at race temp.
18-1. That sounds astronomically high.
It is, and Honda is reportedly furious. They are leading the protests. They think the Germans and Ford are exploiting a loophole that shouldn't exist.
So Honda is showing off their engine in Tokyo, but behind the scenes, they are banging on the FIA's door saying, hey, check their engines.
It's defensive and offensive. It tells me that Honda knows where the limit should be. If they see Mercedes hitting numbers that Honda thinks are impossible without cheating, they get nervous.
They assume Mercedes was just smarter.
That is the fear. If that loophole stands and Mercedes can run at 18.1 while Honda is stuck at a lower ratio because they followed the spirit of the rules, they start with a horsepower deficit. You can see why they're sweating a little bit.
This is the 4D chess of Formula One. I love it. Let's shift gears to the human element. You cannot talk about Honda without addressing the elephant in the room. Fernando Alonso.
The reunion. It's a narrative writer's dream, isn't it?
It really is. I mean, you think back to 2015, 2016, the McLaren-Honda years.
Tumultuous is a polite word. It was a train wreck.
A disaster. Explosions, breakdowns, and Fernando was not shy on the radio.
We all remember, GP2 engine! He screamed it at Honda's home race in Suzuka. It was a low point. For a Japanese company, that loss of face was devastating.
And now, here we are. Alonso's 43. He's back with Honda. Is this awkward?
I don't think so. I think it's a redemption arc. Honda didn't just crawl away. They went to Red Bull. They powered Max Verstappen to 4 titles. They proved they could build a world-beating engine.
That's true. They had the trophies now. The chip on the shoulder is gone.
And Alonso respects that. He respects winning. He and the Japanese engineers shared this samurai spirit, this culture of total effort. Alonso is a warrior, and Honda proved they are warriors too. I think Fernando looks at that and sees himself.
That's a great point. And Alonso isn't the only superstar here. We have to talk about the man who signed off on the chassis, ADRIAN Newey.
This is the factor that changes everything. You have Honda, who dominated the last era, and you have ADRIAN Newey, who designed the cars they won with. He's now the team principal and technical lead at Aston Martin.
It's like getting the band back together with a new lead singer and a bigger budget.
Exactly. Stroll has assembled a super team. Newey knows how to package a Honda engine better than anyone. Its cooling requirements, its vibrations. If Honda's engine is slightly larger because of those combustion struggles, Newey is the one guy who can wrap a car around it so tightly you won't lose aero performance.
So it's all about putting the pieces together correctly.
And that's why the timeline is so critical. They have a very tight schedule to get this right.
Okay, give us the dates. When do we see if this gamble pays off?
The AMR 26 presentation is February 9th in Saudi Arabia.
Mark your calendars.
Before that, a shakedown in Barcelona. New cameras, just checking systems. Then the real truth comes out on February 11th, official testing in Bahrain.
That's the day the stopwatch doesn't lie.
And then March 8th, the season opener in Melbourne. That is the deadline.
It's coming up fast. You know, when you step back, Aston Martin is trying to do something historically difficult.
They are. I mean, think about it. They finished 6th in the Constructors last year. They haven't won a race as Aston Martin.
And aside from that magic Alonso drive in Brazil 2023, they haven't been regular podium contenders.
Right. They are trying to jump from the midfield to the very top to #1 in one winter. It is a vertical climb. It's almost unprecedented.
It's a moonshot. Lawrence Stroll is betting the house. He's got the factory, Newey, Honda, Alonso. On paper, it's a dream team.
But races aren't run on paper. And that combustion engine worry still nags at me. If they show up to Bahrain and that engine is fragile or lacks top-end power, you cannot hide a bad engine in modern F1.
And Mercedes is looking scary. Rumors out of Brackley are that they are very, very confident.
So you have the unstoppable force of Aston's ambition meeting the immovable object of Mercedes' engineering consistency.
And that brings us to the big question. We see the aggression, we see the pixelated engine, we hear the works team promise, but with those admitted combustion struggles and the looming threat of a Mercedes loophole, is this a masterstroke by Lawrence Stroll? Is this the year the green car finally leads the pack? Or is this dream team going to blow up on the launch pad?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. High risk, high reward. But one thing is certain, Honda isn't hiding anymore. They've put their cards on the table. Now we just have to see if they're holding an ace or a joker.
I cannot wait for Bahrain. It is going to be absolutely electric.
Literally and figuratively.
Exactly. All right, that's all we have time for today on this deep dive. We will be tracking every single development of the AMR 26.
I certainly will. So much more to uncover.
So do not go anywhere. Make sure you smash that follow button right now. Follow DRS Zone on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube. We don't lift off, and neither should you. Catch you on the next lap.